I am Steve Fratson. I'm a photographer and also currently doing a degree at Hereford College of Arts in photography, obviously.
So tell us a bit about what draws you to using film rather than digital.
I find the film process really slows me down. I'm far more considerate shooting film. The physicality of it as well in the darkroom with your own prints, I feel like I'm far more in control of the end product. And in a turn, especially if I'm shooting portraiture, which I shoot a lot of, if you're developing that in the darkroom and you're spending time on that print, it's almost like you're spending time with the person in the print still. I don't know, it sounds weird to some people, but to me there's like a deep level of connectivity there sometimes. Yeah.
So tell us a bit about the difference in the process between digital and film.
I suppose film can be a lot slower, as I say. You only get about 35 shots a roll if you're shooting 35mm, roughly between 8 to 12 medium format. So obviously you've got to be a lot more considerate of what you're shooting. You're not just running a gun in or a continuous burst and you get loads of digital files. You know, you've got to be really conscientious of what you're shooting. And of course, there's no immediate satisfaction, as it were, as with digital. I mean, you kind of look at the image as soon as it's there. You've almost got to mediate on it and wait until you develop it or get it back from a lab and see if it scans, or again, it's like sometimes I wait and I don't see the image until it's printed. And then you almost feel more informed because you're looking back at the images instead of immediately just going, no, or, oh yeah.
So can you just tell me again a bit about the difference between film and digital? If you could just say with film it's this and with digital it's that. Is that okay?
Yeah. So with film, again, obviously you're limited to the amount of shots you've got and the amount of rolls you've got. So for me, 35mm standard, about 36 shots, sometimes 24. Medium format, anywhere between 8 to 12 shots on one roll. If you've only got 2 rolls, that's not a lot of shots. So you've got to be far more considerate with what you're shooting and with the way you compose each image, because you do not want to be wasting a frame. Whereas with digital, obviously you can put it on continuous burst, you can shoot as many images as your SD card will hold. And you always get that on the spot satisfaction with digital sometimes, which I think can be a bad thing. So you just shoot something 100 times and you've got so many options to pick from. And you can become really inconsiderate sometimes with digital, because it's just so easy and you can just take as many as you want. Whereas with film, you've got to really think about it and really connect with what you're shooting at the same time.
Do you think there's something in that consideration in Derek's photographs then?
Yeah, I think with Derek's photographs, there's definitely a part of that. Obviously, he didn't have the option of digital back then, so he probably did get supplied with a lot of rolls of film, but even then, he would have still been limited, and he still would have been very careful with what he shot and when he shot. Definitely the hop farm images of Derek's, you can see he's connecting with the people on another level. He's not just walking around like an aimless person just shooting. He's definitely connecting with them first. You can feel through the images because of how natural they look and how warm the people kind of look towards him, as if he's one of them. Yeah, it's like he's really embedded himself in that scene.
So what do you think about kind of, your sort of prospects in the future of being a photographer now compared maybe to when Derek was starting out?
I think it would be a mistake to say that it was easier back then, but I will go so far as to say there was a lot more opportunities when it came to getting your work in newspapers and magazines, especially with Derek Evans and a few other documentary photographers of his time. For example, one from Hereford, John Bulmer, they could literally take their images into the Observer, for example, and before they knew it, they were just hired or put on a contract or a commission. Because there was a few less photographers back then of like a really high, good calibre and standard. Whereas today, the market's just so saturated of anyone picking up an iPhone, picking up a digital camera. So really, you've got to really keep on and keep sending your work to even get a reply these days. But when you do, the doors can open and you can almost continue what Derek Evans started, really.
So tell us about your approach then to taking a photograph. What's your...
To me, something has to always jump out at me as having a story. If I see someone I think they have a story to them. There's more to this person than meets the eye. I'll get a portrait. If it's part of a project, I'll try and follow something that again is very story driven to me personally. There might be nothing there to anyone else, but if I can see a narrative forming, or if I just see an object and I've immediately got stories in my head, then I'll go down that path and I'll explore it a bit more.
Could you just give us a quick step-by-step of the process?
Yeah, so of course beforehand you should already kind of know which negatives you've chosen to print from. From there you'd come in, make sure the safe light's on, make sure your paper's ready but still in its packaging. Take one in for your piece of paper, you're going to have to sacrifice, I'm afraid. And cut it into strips, so you've got a set of test strips for each image you're going to print from and expose. From there you'd obviously turn the normal light on, make sure everything's in its right place and set up. Again, back into the red light. From there you would pick your image and sharpen it and focus it, obviously on here, on the enlarger itself. Then once you're happy with it, you'd use one of your test strips within the centre of where your image is going to be, and you can just do it in short bursts with a bit of card. So you basically got a reading of exposure times, and then you take it over to the developer and the stop and the fix, as you will with your print very shortly. Once that's developed, you'll be able to see the different exposure times and levels for an image, and you can pick which one works best for you, what you're going for, and the kind of contrast you want in the image. If you're happy with that, you'll set the time you're happy with on your enlarger timer. Make sure the red safe light's on. I can't emphasise that enough if anyone's about to try it and ruin their paper, which can be expensive. Take the paper within the easel, which is here. Obviously you can adjust that to the size of your paper, get the framing you want, and then expose it, which is the fun part. Then after that you take it through to the developer. For this paper we used today, it was resin coated paper, so it was only about 1 minute 30 seconds. You have to develop it. Then from the developer you put it into the stop bath, which obviously cuts out the development time and kind of cleans the developer off a little bit. Again, for this paper it's about 30 seconds. Then when that 30 seconds is done, you put it into the fix, which fixes the print and the chemicals to make sure the print will last, it won't degrade, and gets rid of some of the chemicals. Obviously, well, clues in the title, it's fix. So that's about 5 minutes for this paper again. Other papers will vary quite a lot. Sometimes something will need a lot of time in fix. When that's finished, you can then put it in the wash, which again varies. About 5 minutes for RC paper, maybe. You want to wash it a bit longer, obviously, to get all the chemicals and all the horrible stuff off them. And then it should be completely light tight and ready to dry and examine.